I don't think she believes too heavily in instruction. She believes in finding your own path, but with very good examples and guidance around you to support you.
So listen, we've all seen our fair share of royal drama, right? But this one involves the kids. And when you bring children into royal politics, things get real. Word is there was this quiet family day planned at Windsor. King Charles wanted to bring all the grandkids together, his from William and Harry's side and Camilla's from her kids. Sounds sweet on paper, but apparently that bonding day took a turn and all started out calm. A picturesque garden, adults sipping tea under the marquee, kids playing in the grass, but somewhere in that mix, Camilla's eldest grandson and Prince George ended up in the same group during a casual game of football. And that's when things started to go sideways. Now, this isn't just tabloid noise. Multiple palace insiders confirmed that George was targeted during that game. The teasing got sharp and personal. And we're not talking about the usual kids messing around stuff. It got mean, like someone mocking George's role as future king, even making low comments about his late grandmother, Princess Diana. Let's pause on that for a second, because for a kid to say something that specific, it raises eyebrows. People who were there said it felt too pointed, like that boy wasn't just speaking for himself, but repeating things he may have heard at home. George, who's usually composed in public, was seen quietly walking off the field. Aides stepped in and moved him away without making a scene, but when Kate saw him later, she knew something was wrong. And that was the moment everything changed, because behind closed doors, Prince William didn't just react as a future king, he reacted as a father.
I take duty very seriously. I take my responsibilities very seriously. But it's about finding your own way at the right time. And if you're not careful, duty can sort of weigh you down an awful lot at a very early age, and I think you've got to develop into the duty role.
So here's the thing. This whole mess started with what was supposed to be a chill royal family day. King Charles had this idea, bring all the grandkids together. William and Kate's kids, plus Camilla's grandkids from her side. The whole vibe was meant to be relaxed, casual, feel-good PR. Charles really wanted to show the world that everything's blended now. You've got the future king's kids and the step-grandkids all in the same space playing together. A great idea in theory, but behind the scenes, it was a little more tense. See, Kate wasn't totally on board. She didn't throw a fit or anything, but people close to her say she had hesitations. And honestly, can you blame her? These kids don't come from the same world. George is literally being trained to be king one day. There's protocol, manners, press attention, constant scrutiny. Camilla's grandkids, different upbringing entirely. And Kate, being the kind of mom she is, just didn't love the idea of George being thrown into that mix. She'd even voiced her concerns before, quietly but clearly, not about titles or bloodlines, but values, behavior, the kind of stuff kids pick up. And apparently this wasn't her first time raising an eyebrow. Folks say she's had that gut feeling for a while now, especially when it comes to one of Camilla's grandsons. Anyway, the day goes on, the kids are out playing in the garden, and someone suggests a football match, just a light, friendly game. George joins in. He's usually low-key, not one to hog the spotlight, polite, calm, just trying to have fun. And at first, it's all good, but then it turns. Camilla's eldest grandson starts getting a little too aggressive, but then it starts getting mean. The vibe changes. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That's a lot for a kid to say, and you're right. But here's the part that makes this more than just gossip. People who were actually there, like royal aides and a few staff members, said the way those words came out, they didn't sound like typical kid teasing. It sounded rehearsed, like something he'd overheard at home, maybe even repeated more than once. George didn't fight back. He just stopped playing and walked away. But the people around him noticed right away. His whole posture changed. You could see it on his face. That hurt hit deep. And remember, this is a kid who's been in front of cameras since birth. He's trained to hold it together, but this got to him. One of the bodyguards quietly stepped in, led him away, no fuss. Kate saw him moments later, and that's when the real shift happened. His eyes were red, his head was down. She didn't need an explanation, she just knew. Back at home, George opened up. Not all at once, but slowly. He told Kate exactly what was said. The teasing wasn't just about the game, it was personal. His future role, his posture, even his late grandmother Diana Diana was mocked, and that crossed a line no royal title could excuse. Kate didn't cry, she didn't blow up, but she acted. Insiders say she went ice cold in that way only a mother can when her kid's been hurt, and she made a call, told William everything. Then she looked him in the eye and said, either you step in or I will. That right there, that's when everything changed, because for William, this wasn't just about royal image anymore. It was about his son.
My family was the sovereign, and we, as a family, don't own this place. It doesn't belong, and it's not as if we're making money out of it. This is what annoys me so much that's written in the media.
So that night, after everything settled and the kids were in bed, William sat down and made a call. Not the kind of call that gets cameras rolling or headlines made right away. This was quiet, but it was big. He didn't schedule a big meeting with King Charles. He didn't go through 10 layers of palace tradition. He just pulled in a couple of trusted advisors and laid it out. Camilla's grandson? He's done. No titles, no honorary positions, no invites to royal events where George or the other kids will be present, no walking in parades, no being seen next to the future king. That whole track shut down. And the reason it matters is this: William didn't float the idea, he filed it officially. Palace sources say the decision was documented and submitted straight to the royal record. It's not just an emotional reaction. It's now a policy. And he didn't ask Charles for the green light either, he just did it, which in royal terms is a big deal. That's like tearing out a page of the unwritten royal playbook and tossing it in the fireplace. William acted like a father first, not just the future king. He looked at the whole picture and basically said, we're not playing polite anymore. This ends here. And honestly, a lot of people inside the palace didn't argue. They saw what happened. They saw George's face. It wasn't about revenge. It was about protection.
It's lovely
it was
to
quite
see you.
a frosty journey.
I bet it
Yeah,
was.
sorry, we're a bit late, I'm afraid.
Perfectly okay. How's His Majesty?
He's fine, thank you very much.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward to getting back to work.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Now let's talk about Camilla. Because when she found out, yeah, she did not take it well. Sources say she was in the middle of another engagement when a senior aide quietly slipped her the letter, William's official notice. And her reaction? Not the usual calm, composed queen consort style. She marched straight into Charles's office and slammed the paper on his desk. You're thinking, really? Would she actually go that far? And that's a fair question. But you gotta understand where she's coming from. Camilla spent years building her family's image inside the royal circle. Her kids and grandkids were slowly being brought into royal events. They weren't getting official titles, but they were being seen. She was working toward acceptance. So yeah, this decision crushed that entire strategy. And Charles didn't offer her a solution. He listened and then gave her one line: I won't overrule him. He's protecting his family. And that was it. Now, the palace didn't put out a press release or hold a media briefing, but you could feel the shift inside those walls. Whispers started. Aides were talking in corner. No one said it publicly, but everybody knew this wasn't just a family disagreement. It was a change in tone. Then the tabloids started picking it up, and then a week later came the moment that told the world everything, without a single word from the palace. William, Kate, George, and Charlotte showed up to a small Sunday service. It wasn't a big royal appearance, just something local, but even without a formal announcement, word had already spread. People knew what had happened. As the family stepped out of the car, the crowd started to clap. It was almost like they didn't want to startle George. And that kid? He looked around, confused for a second. He didn't get why people were clapping. Kate leaned down and whispered something to him, and whatever she said, it worked. That little unsure look faded. He smiled, not one of those royal duty smiles, but a real honest one, like he felt safe again. And that clap wasn't just for the Prince and Princess of Wales, it was for a kid who'd been mocked, and for parents who stepped up and said, not this time. People felt that, because whether you're royal or not, protecting your child, that hits home.
The fine man is our cultural currency, representing our overall cultural values, including an official certifications for your title.
So here's where things really settle in. Camel's long game, it's pretty much over. For years, she's been working behind the scenes to quietly bring her family into royal life, and if you've been paying attention, you probably noticed it. Her grandkids started showing up at formal events, walking in parades, getting those quiet invites to ceremonial stuff. Nothing too flashy, but it was steady. Camilla didn't push it all at once. She played it slowly, carefully. A photo here, a seat there. The message was clear, they belong too. But now, that whole setup just fell apart. William's move didn't just remove one child from the future picture, it shut the entire plan down. And for anyone thinking this might be just exaggerated headlines, here's what makes it real. People close to Camilla say she hasn't been the same since, not talking about it. In fact, she won't even say William's name out loud anymore when discussing it with staff. That's how deep this cut went. But honestly, this whole situation, it's bigger than George. It's about what the royal family is going to be moving forward. William didn't make this decision because he wanted the press. He didn't call the cameras. He didn't post a photo. He just did what he thought a dad should do when his kid gets hurt. This wasn't about punishing Camilla's family, it was about protecting his own, and drawing a line that said, this is what we will no longer tolerate. And let's be real, Diana, she'd understand that. She lived through what happens when the institution turns its back on the vulnerable. William's choice was a way of saying, not again. And here's what's wild, he's not even king yet. But with moves like this, it's clear he's not waiting around. He's already shaping the crown into something else. So what do you guys think? Was William right to block Camilla's grandson from ever having a royal title? Did he do what any parent did, or do you think he went too far? Would you have drawn that line if it were your kid? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you want more of the real royal talk, the kind without all the fluff, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe, because this new royal era is just getting started.